Hello. Hi, everyone. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Travel Talk with Spidey every Thursday night. And my special co-host tonight is DadManWalking. Hello and welcome. And thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure. It's been a long time coming.
It really has. You know that? It really has. I'm thrilled to have you here.
Absolutely.
And
glad to be here.
Tonight is we're gonna look at some photos I took while I was in Vietnam, and we're gonna talk about Vietnam. And one of the places along the coast, about halfway down, is a little town called Hoi An. Hoi An, and you can get custom-made tailored shirts there. This was $5 American.
Oh, wow.
And the lady measured me and custom built, and I came back that afternoon, and it was $5. So I don't know if you can see, but it's quite it's a cotton material.
Looks really good.
Yeah, it's very traditional Vietnamese, I think, and just a cotton material. Now, the other thing I was able to get made in Hoi An, was a shirt. Again, they measured, custom tailored, but this is Vietnamese silk, and it's really, really shiny and really purple.
Wow, that is purple.
Yeah, I know, right? And so this is my going out shirt on the town. It is very purple. And then the other thing I had made was a really nice. This is like a dark midnight blue, fancy silk shirt that I got custom, and it has little shine. It's got a shine to it. It's got quite a shine to it.
Yeah, that is nice. How did they get that in there, I wonder?
I don't know, but I had that custom made, and again, and this was $5 again. So
wow,
quite a fancy, snazzy shirt. And then if you go there, Hoi An is famous for their clothing, custom made, tailor made clothing, and their shop set up with little old ladies and men that have decades of experience. And it was $5 a shirt, and they, like I said, custom measure you up, and then it's ready later that afternoon. And
wow,
here again,
yeah,
I got this made up again, $5. Quite a nice light material over there. And the last item, I didn't get this made, but I did manage to buy this, and that's Ho Chi Minh.
Oh man.
And, yeah, that's because of course Ho Chi Minh City. Yeah, that was fun. And do you know what the currency is called, Dadman, of Vietnam?
No, I don't.
It's known as the dong, DONG, the dong. I'm not kidding.
Some friends. No, I know. I got a friend of ours stunning that when we play Fortnite's Megadong. So yes.
Oh, it's done. Hello. I just want to say hello, Miskatonic Madman. Hello and good evening. And hello, JPRPH1 John. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the show. So this is the Vietnamese dong. That is 10,000 dong.
Which represents what in Canadian or US?
I was gonna look up to see what it is currently. I don't know. I cannot remember. And those are the Vietnamese style boats out in the bay there. Yeah, so that's the currency. Yeah, that's 10,000 dong, and then this is an older bill, and that is 2,000 dong, and that's a little less colorful, but it does have a nice picture of some ladies working at a factory there on the back. I don't know what the exchange rate is. That's an excellent question.
I'll take a look. I'll see if I can look it up real quick.
Oh, great. Okay, yeah, the Vietnamese dong. And so let's start. I went while I was over in Japan. I took my savings that I had made teaching, and I did a loop for Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, China, India, including India.
No.
Like, I was there for like 7 months.
No, you don't want to know how 10,000 Vietnamese dong is 39 US cents.
Wow.
It's
39 US
0.39
cents.
of a US dollar. Yep.
Yep. That's about right. Yep. Yeah.
American cash might go a long way over there.
They don't. Yeah.
They don't. Or do they take Canadian? Yeah.
Officially, they don't accept the American dollar. Officially, because they're still, they're still pretty much a communist, right? So, yeah, officially they don't accept American dollars. But yeah, I use dong, but if you have American dollars, you can use them just about anywhere in the world. So we'll start off with the. Wow, I didn't realize it was that little. Wow.
No, I know. That's like dirt. Talk about dirt poverty. That's like.
Oh yeah.
Let me see real quick. Let me take a look at it to the Canadian dollar then.
Oh yeah, please.
Let's see. See if I can. Oh God! It reset the whole search. There's a problem with being on your phone.
This. Let's start off with that's crossing the border into Vietnam, and that was from Laos, from Lao. They don't pronounce the S on the end, but we pronounce it.
Hey, they got a little bit better with the Canadian dollar. 54 cents on the Canadian dollar.
So 10,000 dong is 54 cents
in your currency. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So this is the border. Coming over through the mountains, oh my goodness, we did a 22-hour bus trip through from southern Laos up to Hanoi, and started at the top of Vietnam, where Hanoi is, and went down south. And so this is the border crossing coming from with the Vietnamese flag, as you can see there, with the gold star on it, and it's a pretty big, impressive building. Vietnam is it's pretty advanced for that part of Southeast Asia. Vietnam really has a lot going for it, and they produce a lot in Vietnam too. They manufacture things, so that's good.
Yep.
And so here's the landscape. It's just, right out of any of the Vietnam War era movies. How many times have you seen little scenes like that of the countryside in Vietnam, and you can see the houses in there. They're pretty small, but they are there. And so it was a heck of a bus ride from Laos. It was 22 hours, and that was not comfy.
Wow, I bet that made the ride through the Rockies a lot rougher. You enjoyed the ride through the Rockies better than that. 22 hours on a bus.
Yeah. Wow. See, when we booked it, my buddy and I, who was also teaching English with me, when we booked it, they told us 16 hours. Well, I suspect they knew damn well it wasn't 16 hours, but we would have probably not booked it had we known it was 22. I did have a little bit of Vietnamese whiskey with me, Laotian whiskey with me, which helped. Made some friends on the bus, but it was jam packed. Like there was crates of oranges in the aisle. Like every spare inch of that bus is used. Like there's 3 adults to a bench seat. It's an old school bus type. Yeah, it was not comfortable.
So 22 hours. So no AC, I guess, right?
Oh God, no AC, no AC at all. And every time they stopped the bus a few times, just in the middle of the woods in one spot, in the middle of the countryside like this. There's a dirt road, and to stop to use the washroom, and the driver, he couldn't speak much English, but he did say, "Don't leave the road because of landmines in Laos." And in the journey between Laos and Hanoi. So, whenever you couldn't just go off into the woods to use the bathroom, you had whatever you were going to do, it had to be on the side of the road because of landmines. And that was
Is that leftover from the war?
Oh yes.
Is it leftover, or are they still having certain fights?
No, leftover. Leftover.
Wow.
Leftover from and of course they call it the American War.
Right.
But yeah, leftover from the war. And in Laos and Vietnam both, and Cambodia from from their own doing as well.
Oh
Cambodia
yeah,
has
that's
its own.
always the thing people don't realize is all the landmines, all the stuff
They're
that's
still,
hidden and buried and
yep,
left for good. Yeah.
yep, and the signs are still up there. And I'm just gonna welcome you, and I'm just gonna open a beer here. I'm really glad to have you here. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Good
Thanks
to be
for,
here. I got my my artificially sweet tea. So, cheers to you.
and you know what? These shirts are so lightweight and they're not hot because it's hot as heck in Vietnam. So nice and lightweight. And hey, I'd like to say hello to Maddie's daddy, Steve M.
Hey,
Hello.
Steve. Good to see you.
It is good to see you. Good to have you here. We're just looking at pictures of Vietnam, and this is crossing from Laos by bus up into Hanoi. And this is the streets of Hanoi. And business is conducted on the streets and sidewalks of all the cities in Southeast Asia. They don't have a lot of shop space because, of course, rent is they can't afford a lot of rent. So they set up shop on the streets. And this guy set up a little bicycle repair station there. So he's got his little pump and he's got his patch kits and he just repairs things on the side of the road. And this is central Hanoi in the old part of Hanoi. And I did get lost. Interesting note, Dadman. I did get lost in old Hanoi, and I don't speak Vietnamese, and my Japanese didn't help. Completely different language, but I was able to use French.
Oh wow, that's probably good. That's probably safer though. I mean, do you still find French. That? Well, what about Japanese? Do you still find that there might be hostilities towards Japanese?
It didn't come up
after World War II.
It didn't come up, but I bet you no hostility towards Americans and Canadians on behalf of the Japanese. But I know the Vietnamese and the Chinese and the Koreans are still not happy with the Japanese from their World War II. Yeah, but no. So I did use French because anyone over the age of like 75, or I guess it'd be older than that now, 90. They spoke French. They
used to be part of French Indochina, even before World War II. Yeah, the French were very heavy in the area. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, so the old very old people, they did speak French, and so I was able to get directions in French. My French sucks, but I was able to use it to get around Hanoi.
Don't tell that to the ladies, dude.
It's not bad. And this is what you do. This is my buddy. My travel companion, and he's from New Zealand, a good mate of mine. And this is you set up and you have your meal right on the sidewalk in these little plastic chairs, these little plastic tables, right on the streets of Hanoi, and cheap as chips. Like a meal there was $5, or less. Noodles, and I got my hair cut right on the street corner.
All right.
Yeah, he just this is in a mirror. So he hung a mirror on the side of a building, and I'm sitting on a chair, and he had trimmers that were operated with a foot pedal. And so
interesting.
He had foot pedal powered trimmers, and I got my hair, I got my head shaved right out on the street. And he's wearing a mask, not because of any COVID. This is long before that, just because any hygiene. Where they're doing anything like trimming your nails or cutting your hair, they wear the mask.
Well, my wife has also told me about a lot of she's watched a lot of the shows and a lot more familiar with the culture. But a lot of the Asian countries, they've worn the mask, not just just as a general practice. Even before 2020, it's what they do. And
gloves, gloves and masks, and white gloves. A lot of them, and it's very interesting. Hello. Hi. Good to see you. Mrs. DadManWalking is here.
Yay, Mrs.
Hello. Hi. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. All the business point is in the cities now, all the business is conducted on the sidewalks, right on the streets. And this always people walking around selling fresh fruit right out of the baskets there, lychees, or any of the tropical fruit readily available. And So this is the intersection. This young girl is bringing her morning coffee across with the intersection, and there's motorcycles flying by. I mean, the picture maybe doesn't do it justice, but there's motorcycles flying by, and you got to pay attention. Like, the pedestrians do not have the right of way. You have to watch out for the motorcycles, and they're everywhere.
Yeah, I've seen the video of it. Yeah,
more than cars, because of course the cars are more expensive, so everyone drives a motorcycle, and they'll use that as their family vehicle. They'll put like 4 and 5 people on one motorcycle, as you can see. Wow. Here's the grandma going on the back, and he's got stuff between his legs, and so and there's the hostel I stayed at up on the upper floors. It was a cheap hotel more than a hostel, and again, I think it was 3. We got a 3-bedroom. It was a 3-bedroom room for the 2 of us. We had a spare bed in there, and I think we ended up paying $7 American dollars each for
well, at that exchange rate of 39 cents. Yeah, I could imagine.
Hello, Molecular Arts. Hello. We're just looking at Old Hanoi. This is Old Hanoi. Now, Hanoi has a modern part as well, and it just looks like any other big city. But I love the old Hanoi.
Well, that's what's beautiful. All these cities. I mean, whether it's stateside or everywhere else, is getting to the old real area, not the more modern skyscraper. This is where you see the culture. This is where you find the small dives, the local mom and pop places. And if you really want the culture, that's where you go, not the touristy places.
You're right. And like I said, they were using mopeds and motorcycles as their family vehicles.
Look at this guy carrying that big old stick or whatever that is.
That's bamboo.
Out with that? Yeah,
that's what they do. That's what they do. This is their work.
Some strength in those arms, though.
Yes, they don't have work trucks for the most part. They use motorcycles. I saw one guy made ladder racks for an extension ladder for his motorcycle, and you see guys. You'll have the guy on back, and that's his job, is to carry and hold stuff all day long, and as they transport it. And he's not the only one. See the guy. This woman is carrying clothes, of course, across, but the guy on the motorcycle behind, they're delivering what looks like wooden doors, and between the driver and the passenger on back, and the passenger's job is to hold the stuff. Very common to see motorcycles used as work vehicles. And here's an entire family in Hanoi on the scooter, because that's just what they do. And hello and hi to you.
Hello.
Y2CD. You saying hello to everybody. And would you mind reading this, Dadman, if you can see that from my friend Molecular Arts?
Okay, I've heard Vietnam is one of the most tourist hostile countries. Is that not true, Canadian Spider-Man?
I maybe in some situations for some people, I didn't encounter that whatsoever. No. And as far as they know, I'm an American, because I'm not one of these Canadians that wears the Canadian flag on my backpacks or anything like that. So as far as they knew, I was an American, and unless I told people otherwise, and I didn't see, I mean, this is 15 years ago. So maybe it's changed since then. I don't see why it would. Certainly 15 years ago, it was even closer to the Vietnam War. But I didn't encounter any hostility, anything like that. The people were wonderful to me, and like I said, the older generation speaks French, and they were he was very polite and very nice and helpful, even if I couldn't really understand all of his French. But yeah, thanks for reading that, Dadman. And no here problem. So this this is typical. Vietnam is tropical. It's very tropical, and palm trees are everywhere. And if you notice, the houses are up on the stilts. Now this is on the countryside, and we're headed down towards. I went down the coast, and and you know what? Maybe I can pull up let's pull up a map. I think I can do that. But you see how the houses are on stilts there, Dadman?
Yep. A lot of flooding, the river nearby.
Exactly. And there's another couple reasons. It keeps
Oh, really?
them cooler because the
Mm-hmm.
wind can go underneath the house and all around. So it keeps the house cooler. And also it keeps it up off the ground from where all the snakes and spiders and creepy crawlers are.
Oh, yeah. We don't want those crawling into bed with us. It's
No.
because they did. Is it like the other, like Japan, where they're sleeping on the floor, like on a mattress on the floor, not like beds like we do?
No, I saw cots, a lot of cots or padded beds, but certainly not four-poster beds like some of the fancy ones we have. But not, I didn't see any tatami mats or anything like that where they slept on the floor like or futons they call them, the bed rolls that they sleep on in Japan. I saw people sleeping on cots and just and Molecular Art says, "Thanks, Canadian Spider-Man. My wife and I are thinking of visiting." I recommend it. I had a great time there.
It looked like you did, yeah.
And why Vietnam? Because I was already over in Japan teaching, and when I finished up my teaching, I was already over in Asia. So I thought it's a long way to get here. I might as well see all the countries in the area that I can. So that's why Vietnam. And yeah, I really love the food in Vietnam. The pho, is that ever delicious? Now I bet I can pull up a quick map. Oh, yes, I think that is it. Okay.
That is lovely. That is lovely. I mean, yeah.
There's Vietnam right there. Okay. So
you just got to be ready for a different culture. No AC. You're going to have to rough it a little bit, kind of like
right.
maybe a glorified camping. You won't be out in tents, but you'll be in. What is their normal temperature? Do they ever get cool like in the winter?
I don't think in the mountains because it's a mountainous area, right? So in the mountains, yes, but down near the coast, it was tropical. It was tropical. This would have been. Well, yeah, no, this would have been in the late spring, probably May, June, and it was hot. It was 90 Fahrenheit, 80, 85, 90 Fahrenheit most of the time. And so there's Hanoi in the north with Ha Long Bay, and then Da Nang is about halfway down. That's where Hoi An and the imperial city of Hue, and then in the south is Nha Trang, and then Ho Chi Minh City. Which used to be called Saigon.
Ah, yes. Yep, Saigon. Yep.
Yeah. So let's bring that up again and we'll get back to the pictures. There we go. And share. All right, great. Just very tropical, very warm. It was wonderful. But in the mountains, in the north, especially, Dadman, I believe it does get cold, and it gets chilly up in the mountains in the north. They're just, I keep finding these guys everywhere. I also saw scorpions in Laos, and Thailand.
Oh my gosh, that thing's huge.
I know, it really was. Yeah, I've seen a couple of those. And these guys, I would go here, and these guys would make soup for breakfast, noodle soup with tripe, like entrails and tripe from pigs and cows. And it would just be your breakfast, and they'd put in fresh herbs. I'm not a huge fan of tripe, but I thought I'd try it.
What do I always think tripe? I try to tell myself it's fish. Something more edible than what you really...
like lungs and intestines. Yeah, stuff like that. And yes. Oh, okay. Do you mind reading this from our friend Courtyards?
Yeah, no problem. Were you teaching in Japan as part of the JET program, Canadian Spider-Man?
No. Japan does have a JET program. That's the Japanese English teachers program. No, I worked for a private company called Nova, but it was the biggest English teaching school at the time in Japan by far. I mean, every train station had a Nova, and so I was teaching there. And yeah.
Cool. And which other Asian countries have you visited, Canadian Spider-Man? I beat you to it that time. I'll
You
read the
did.
questions.
Thank you.
Yes, no problem. But which
Yeah.
other Asian countries have you visited?
Well, I was teaching in Japan, and after I finished there, I did it's a normal thing for backpackers to do a loop to start in. I flew to Thailand, and from Thailand, you go through north up through Thailand, and then across into Laos, as we pronounce it, into Laos, and then down all through Vietnam, and then across Cambodia, and then back into Thailand, and right back to Bangkok. So they do a circle, and that's a pretty common circle to do one way or the other. And you run into fellow backpackers that maybe you met in Vietnam, and then you'll meet them again in Cambodia, or because you're going to the tourist sites and the castles and things like that, and the jungles and the anthropological sites and the archaeological sites, and you just run into them, and so that's a typical circuit. But while I was there, I also popped over to India and Japan and China while I was there. So why not? Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And Y2CD says scorpions are considered to be arachnids. I didn't know that. But the food, the noodle soup, it was like the pho. No. I almost hit leave. Jesus, I almost left the studio. I almost left you here on your own. Oops.
Oh, well, I've been known to take over a channel before.
But yeah, the noodle soup for breakfast was delicious, and they're always cooking soups. And there are caves. There are limestone caves off not far from Hanoi. You can do a tour, and any hotel or hostel or there's tour agencies set up on the streets, and you go in and they've got pictures of the caves there. You want to go to a tour here? Yes, I do. Limestone, huge caves, massive caves, and they were fascinating. And they've got them lit up. And as you can see, it's massive, so you're not really claustrophobic,
Yeah, that's a big thing with a lot of caves is that feeling of all of it enclosing on you. But now those are artificial lights that they wire down in there. Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's correct. Yeah. And okay, so next to close to Hanoi, it's called Ha Long Bay. Ha Long Bay.
That looks very similar. I wonder if the terrain in all those countries are very similar. That looks like some of coastal China, actually.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It absolutely does, especially southern China. Yep, that's exactly correct. And it does. It's all the same kind of part of the world, right? But this is Ha Long Bay, and what's very popular is you go on a 2 or 3 night. I think I was 2 nights, me and my buddy, 3 days, 2 nights out on like a Vietnamese boat, but it's kind of like it was all wooden, and it's like a Chinese junk style, if you know what the typical Chinese boats look like, the old wooden ones. And this was Vietnamese. And we went out and we toured all around Ha Long Bay, and it was amazing. And at night, if you splash the water, you get the what's the little bacteria and microbes in the water that light up. They generate light. They're the luminescence, the bioluminescence.
Okay.
Have you heard of the bioluminescence?
No, I have not in the water. I mean, of course, down south here, we got the fireflies, we call them.
Okay, it's like that, but it's like little algae on the water.
Oh wow! Okay.
And you can't see it. Like the water looks clean, but at night, when the waves hit the side of the shore, or if you drop rocks in the water, that it stirs up and it creates bioluminescence. So of course, on this house, we were on this giant boat, and we'd go up. We were drinking at night, of course, and we'd go up to the top and pee off the roof into the water, and it was pitch dark, like there's no lights anywhere, and you could have this awesome bioluminescence show. And hello, hi, Rancor Steve. We're just looking at Vietnam.
Yep. How are you tonight?
Doing fantastic.
Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed with that terrain, that bay, and just those little. They have to be volcanic, right?
I think so, yes, and limestone.
Yeah,
limestone. And I think the rain has just worn away the limestone a lot and made some of these dramatic shapes. And Y2C. Do you mind reading this from our friend?
I don't know. Have you ever visited Southeastern Asian countries like Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, or Indonesia? Let me add on to that. Have you ever visited the island of, I do not know how they pronounce it, Celebes or Celeb?
Oh, I know the one,
One
and
that
I don't
looks
know how
like
to pronounce it.
angelfish. Yeah, I've heard
No.
different pronunciations. Wow, it looks like
Yeah.
an angelfish. That is
Yeah.
always in my studies of World War II. That island always got the most attention I had. But what about the other ones that they asked about
I
here?
I had a plan to go and visit every one of those, and then my brother ended up getting married, proposing to an Australian woman, and who's lovely. I love Libby. She's awesome. But
Mhm.
so I had to cancel the plans to go to those places and go. And I spent 6 months over in Australia with my brother celebrating his wedding, and my
Yeah.
parents were there. So yeah, I had to kind of go to the wedding instead. But I will go back to those places, including the Philippines. I'll do them all at
Mm.
the same time. Once, because it's so hard to get over there. Once you're over there, you might as well take 6 months and do them all.
Yeah, because it's so
You know,
expensive, much less hard.
exactly.
It's
That's right.
expensive getting over there in that area.
It is, and if you're going to take 1 month or 2 months, I mean, I had to quit my job to do that. So if you're going to do that, you might as well go for 6. I've quit my
Well,
job like 4 times to go traveling.
it's interesting that there's so much travel that's over there and availability for it.
Hmm.
Because some of the things that I've learned, I've always liked the Pacific and World War II, but I'm understanding watching some of the history channels. I mean, they're taking tours to like Guadalcanal. They're taking the
Hmm.
Solomon Islands. They're taking it to
Hmm.
some of these atolls, and I'm like, wow, that would be neat to go to these islands, and to be able to see
Hmm.
places, be on things where stuff had actually happened. Before
Hmm.
you just always thought there's no way to get to it, or there was just always undeveloped areas. But these islands are developing a tourist industry.
They really are, and it helps their economy. The only thing is, when I go over there, I try not to flash too much cash and pay stupid price. I try and negotiate, and you don't want to
Right.
cause inflation in places. You don't want to go over there and with all the Americans and Canadians and Brits and just throwing money around. Then you're
Yeah.
driving the price up. Because I saw it happened to my own town in Whistler Ski Resort. I saw it happen there. I've seen it
Mhm.
happen.
Mhm.
So you can go over there and you can live a really comfortable, nice, and have a good vacation for not a lot of money. Just don't try not to go throwing your money around everywhere and cause inflation is the thing. Like
Mhm.
if I go in there and I want that pineapple or whatever it is, and here's $10 for that pineapple, and the locals all they've got like 50 cents. Who's the shopkeep gonna sell it to? Is he
Yeah.
gonna sell it to the locals, or is he gonna sell it to the tourists? He's gonna sell it, and the price is gonna get jacked up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you gotta watch for that in
And then
places
then
like
you
that. You gotta watch out.
and then you perpetuate a stereotype of the either obnoxious American or Canadian or European tourist, to the locals.
Exactly. I think so, Dad, man. But How Long Bay, and if you do go, if anyone does go over there to visit Vietnam, I highly recommend doing a boat tour. Right, you can book it in Hanoi at any one of the travel agencies. They're everywhere, and you can go on one of these. This is one of the boats that we were on, just like that. And it does have sails, but we use the motors most of the time. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And molecular art says bioluminescent organisms have evolved multiple times. And can you read this one, please?
A common feature of all bioluminescent reactions is the use of oxygen.
That's why. Okay, so when you throw a rock or you pee in, you're splashing oxygen into. It's like in a fish tank, the little
Mm-hmm.
bubbler that comes in to generate
Yep.
oxygen. Yeah, or like how a stream goes into a lake and it makes oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. Okay. And yeah, the flight is really long. PS2 Chipper, you're right. But I highly recommend How Long Bay. The 2 nights or 3 days, 2 nights out on the boat was not expensive at all. It was well worth it, and I think it was only a couple $100, like less than $100 a day, really. And our meals were catered for, and we got to cruise in and out the coastal waters of Vietnam. We visited a salmon farm there that was really interesting to see, and at night there's no lights out there except for one or two other boats. So it's
Right.
completely dark. You get such a good view of the sky and the bioluminescence and everything. It was just a really good time. I highly recommend a boat tour of Ha Long Bay. And if you can stay overnight, that's even better.
Yep.
So this is in the town little south called Hue, and Hue used to be a long time ago an imperial city, and it's got a lot of ruins and a lot of archaeological history there. And Hue is it's almost halfway down. It's closer to Hoi An is there where I got the clothes made. It's about halfway down, right on the coast. And it's, again, tropical, very tropical. And the architecture is amazing. And I don't see any safety ropes up there, Dad, man. Do you?
Nope.
I don't see any
It's
safety
a long
ropes.
way to watch out for that first step. First step. It's a Lulu.
Yep. And the bamboo scaffolding, I'm very familiar because in construction I use scaffolding all the time, and I always wondered if the bamboo scaffolding was as strong as the metal scaffolding that we use here in North America, and so I did a bit of research on it. Do you know if it's done correctly, if they tie it up correctly, the bamboo is just as sturdy and as strong as any of the scaffolding we have that we use over here in our constructions. I was really impressed.
Wow. Yeah, that's really neat. Ooh, food.
So this is one of the soup shops that I was telling you. See the big pot of soup at the back there, and I'm holding out one of the intestines of the pig. I think that's the intestine, the large intestine of the pig. And
some sausage.
Yeah, they make soup and they throw in the tripe and the entrails and all the herbs and the lime and lemongrass is a big one over in Vietnam, and they throw it in with fresh herbs, and it's chewy, but it's cheap. And it was an interesting cultural sitting there ordering the same with these older guys that were there, and they were ordering it, and well, screw it, just I'll order some too. And I think they were actually, I could tell that they appreciated that I was willing to try their food and try that part of their culture where, it was good. Yeah,
you're respecting it. You're going, eating what they do, pay their prices. Yeah, it is a thing of respect. You talked earlier about the obnoxious tourists going in, flashing the cash, and I mean, what bigger way to disrespect them and the culture by going in there like that, doing that?
Okay.
Yes, Steve. Yes, Steve. I will see you hopefully Saturday.
Good night.
Some point. Yes.
Good night, Steve. Have a great night.
Take care.
Okay, so this is on the way south, headed down towards Nha Trang. And what do you see here?
I see what looks like a river with low tide. That's the thing in the back. I see another bridge on the other side.
Yeah, that's right. And this guy is going to get decapitated if he stops suddenly.
Oh God! Yeah, all that stuff on the back. Yeah. Okay.
And on the front, because he's bound and he's got he's got everything between his legs, so he can't move forward. I don't know. It's going to snap his neck forward. That does not look safe to me. But this is what they do. They don't have delivery trucks. A lot of them. They're too expensive to run, so they use delivery motorcycles.
Exactly.
Hello, Whoopa Troopa. Hello.
Hey, Whoopa.
We're just looking at Vietnam, Whoopa Troopa. And this is midway down, driving down the coastal highway. And this was taken from buses are cheap and plentiful and comfortable and easy. Not like the bus ride getting to Vietnam from Laos. The buses in Laos were not comfortable. They're very primitive school bus type that were very, very old. But in Vietnam, they had luxury coaches, like luxury tour buses, like you'd find over here in America. And so I went down the coast on those, and it was convenient. It was comfortable. Do it at night, and you can save a bit of money. If you do it in the day, you get to take pictures like this.
Wow.
Oh, do you mind reading your missus?
I am just amazed at the balance of the boxes on back.
Mm-hmm. He does have one strap. You can see one little bungee cord strap holding them down, but it isn't much.
No. The side to side is what gets me. Is that see that's a front and back strap. I guess if you have it strapped down, it should stop the left to right. But I don't know. That's a lot of packaging.
Yes, that is a lot of packaging, and that could end badly, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And Rancor Steve, thanks for being here. And I made you a wrench, Rancor Steve, although there's no obligation. And the same with your missus. Yeah. I see that one strap, but if you turn, yeah,
exactly. That's what we were just talking about. What we were thinking about, Now,
here's the profile picture. Now I turned 33 in Hanoi. I had my 33rd birthday in Hanoi. And me and my buddy, we met up with 4 other Canadians, 2 guys and their girlfriends. And the 6 of us went to dinner, and they found out it was my birthday. So we went up to a nice restaurant in Hanoi with an outside patio that was sort of overlooking a bit of the lake. And I had, now the menu said it was camel's hump. For all I know, they could have fed me, old beef, and I wouldn't have known any better. But it did say camel's hump, and it was a pretty modern restaurant. And so I had that for my 33rd birthday. And then we went a little crazy, and we went out looking for the snake wine, the Cobra whiskey, the Cobra whiskey. And so we had Cobra whiskey, and it was a hell of a night. It was a good birthday, I'll tell you that.
Is that anything like how it's like some of the tropical fish, like some of the sushi that there's certain fishes that have poison? Is that anything like the cobra?
Yeah,
so you have to watch how you. Yeah,
the Japanese fish called fugu.
Yeah, but is there anything similar like with the? Because I know you have to be skilled in preparing stuff like that.
Yes.
But what about the cobra wine? Does that have to be prepared a certain way?
Apparently, they remove the venom and they put the snakes, or sometimes you put scorpions in there. I guess they remove the poison because I drank it, no problem.
Well, I'll jump out ahead of you. The missus is asking, do you remember anything after the Cobra whiskey?
Oh, no. No, that's why we have photos. See, we rented motorcycles. We hired, this guy's a motorcycle taxi driver. And this is one of the Canadian buddies. And I can't remember his name. And if anyone watching knows this man, I would love to get a hold of him, because all of us spent my 33rd birthday together. We had a blast in Hanoi, and I don't remember this guy's name. And he was hilarious, and as Canadian as it comes, and him and his buddy and the 2 girls, and we had a blast. So if anyone knows who this man, this was from about 15 years ago.
How did you get this group together? How did you get this group together? Is it just people you met randomly, or?
That's correct. What? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because
and y'all all just went the same direction, same places.
That's right. Yeah. So he's on the back of the motorcycle. And there's another motorcycle behind. All 6 of us, we decided to take motorcycles across the other side of town. We rented taxis, and you're riding on the back of the motorcycle, and no helmets. And there's a lot of motorcycle accidents in Vietnam, so it's not recommended. But it was a special occasion. And Herc 130. Hello and welcome to you. And he says, my uncle has been to Vietnam 2 tours. That's fantastic. Holy shit. And Daniel's Hot Topics. Hello and welcome to you. A lot of those soldiers, I think, got culture shock from just the extreme different culture over there, Mm-hmm. Speaking of 2 tours, good timing. Do you recognize? You wouldn't want to see, they put those at the bottom of the pits for the American soldiers to fall onto.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I went to, there's an American War Museum in Nha Trang. Nha Trang? Was it Nha Trang or Da Nang? I'm sorry, it was Da Nang. And this is it. This is one of the museum pieces. And from the American War, or as we say, the Vietnamese War. And do you mind reading this?
They say it's impossible for a man to strap something down on a truck without saying, that's not going anywhere.
True. Oh, hey, thanks, Mrs. Dadman. There's no obligations. I didn't give you the wrench to make you work, but I just thought you'd be a good person to have the wrench. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you have. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm up to 420 subscribers, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Yep.
And although I'll say this right now, I'll never be monetized, and I have no intention of being monetized, but I certainly appreciate the audience. And
yeah, absolutely. That's what makes it worth it, is the audience, the people hanging out, the chats, some of the goofiness. Yeah.
The guy on the right is Long Duck Dong. Really? This guy? Yeah, that is Long Duck Dong. Okay. Hey, Herc. And do you mind reading that, please?
I heard when you eat fugu, you have to sign a waiver claiming the restaurant is not liable or responsible for your death.
I've heard the same thing, but I've never been to a fugu restaurant. There are restaurants that just in Tokyo that only specialize, all they do is fugu. And I've never had it. It wasn't worth it. It's not worth dying to me, so I didn't try it, but I've heard that, and I don't know whether it's true or not, but it wouldn't surprise me. Ooh, those will leave a mark, says Miskatonic. Yeah, they will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, Mrs. Dadman, fugu is pufferfish. Correct. Oh, hey, thanks. I appreciate that, Mrs. Dadman. Thanks for subscribing. And Molecular Art says, I have to split, folks. Thanks, all. And thanks
Take care. Thanks for being here.
Yes. Thank you for being here, Molecular Arts. I appreciate it. Okay, so moving on. So this, that's the, it looks like an American fighter sort of crashed, and with the picture of the Vietnamese soldier pulling an American wing along. That museum was pretty powerful, I gotta say, pretty emotional. And but when I was there, I didn't feel the Vietnamese people that were there. I mean, as far as they knew, I was an American, and I didn't feel any ill will or any malice at all from anyone there.
Yeah.
There you go. There's part of the museum as well. The old Huey.
Yeah, a lot of those got left behind.
And now this is the Imperial Palace in Hue, Hue. It's about halfway down, like I said. And it's quite an archaeological site. It's got a massive stone courtyards with stone carvings, all describing Vietnam's history all around, and it's well worth the visit. I highly recommend it. And the other thing wonderful about Vietnam, and this is now we're getting down towards the south near Nha Trang, is the fresh fruit, Dadman. The fresh fruit. Tons of fresh fruit, including bananas. So excited for the finale of Doctor Who tomorrow. I can't tell. Is that sarcasm or not? I don't know, Daniel.
95% chance of sarcasm, I'm sure.
That's what I was going with.
Yeah.
So that's fresh fruit is everywhere, and like I said, they don't have delivery trucks. They use bicycles or mopeds. I mean, the rich people, of course, the richer businesses, the bigger businesses have delivery trucks, but the average person just uses bicycles or mopeds. Okay, that is the tailor, and her name is Tam, Tam, which is a common Vietnamese lady's name. And Tam made that's the shirt I'm wearing. This shirt is that shirt, and that's her.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah, this is in Hoi An, Hoi An, which is close to Nha Trang and Hue. And she made those. She custom made all those things for me for $5 a pop. And she even a lot of them don't have tags, but she uses this. This is her shop, and she puts tags in her clothes. And she's one of the better ones, and that's her tag, and that's her shop, Lan Nai. And some of the cheaper shops are ones that maybe aren't as established. They don't have their own tags, but she's an established shop and one of the better ones, and that's her brand. So and she just measured me up, And I got those. I got shorts. You know the zip off the pants that you have zip off legs and you can turn them into shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got those made up, and those again were cargo shorts, cargo pants that zip off, and that was again. I think they were like $10. They were $10 because of the zippers, and yeah, she measured me up. Actually, I asked her to measure my inseam twice. She didn't, but
she knew what was up.
She yeah, I think she knew I was kidding, but yeah. And how's that for food, my friend?
Man,
The
that's a lot.
Vietnamese food, it's a lot of lemongrass, a lot of fresh herbs. The Vietnamese use herbs maybe more than any other culture I know that I've come across.
But
Oh,
it's
maybe
interesting
Thailand.
the way they played it, because it's like some of the family serve type things where every entree is on a plate. You don't see
Yes,
individual plates there. It's just like every main dish is there, and you just pick off of it.
yeah, it's a communal type thing, and that's exactly right. Sort of like the Japanese or the Indonesian, and a lot of vegetables there, and fish. Vietnam has a hell of a lot of fish, which I was a big fan of, and you can see some right in the middle there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Absolutely.
it was good, Mrs. Dadman. Yeah, delicious food. Now Nha Trang has Nha Trang is kind of like Miami. Of it's a tropical paradise, Nha Trang, with beaches. You can rent the chairs. People walk along and offer you food and seafood and whatever else you want as you're walking. You can drink in public there, like most of Asia. Not a problem as long as you don't get, to become a nuisance. And yeah, we did we booked a little boat where you could go on a big boat, a little tour for the afternoon on a big boat, and we just basically a booze cruise around Nha Trang, the bay there, and it was a lot of fun. But the beaches, as you can see, are fully tropical, just like what you'd find in Dominican Republic or Mexico, like that. Very tourist. They're very tourist focused. They really knew how to cater to the Western person vacationing there. And I wish I could read Vietnamese, but I'm pretty sure this is communist propaganda of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Can't read Vietnamese.
Nope. But there is a question.
Yes.
Mrs. is asking, is Vietnamese food spicy?
They do use spice, but they ask you if you want to. You add your own, so you can make it. But they chili powder and chili flakes and the curries. I mean, there are on their menus. They, especially for places that cater to tourists, they'll have a little mark saying spicy. But no, not as much as say Thailand, for example. But they do use spice. It is definitely there, but it's not like all of their food is spicy. No, they do have spicy food, but they don't. I don't think they really they go for it as much as say the Thailand people.
Right.
Now, what I do recognize from this sign is the words Hoi An, and that's the little town. Hoi An is the little town where I got my clothes made. Yeah, that looks like communist propaganda. If anyone can read Vietnamese in the chat, please let us.
Well, I would think there would be, but not. I mean, you get the soldier in it. You get all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the filming of it, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this is a fishing net set up, and I have no idea how that works, but a lot of fish in Vietnam, a lot of fish. And yes, that pic looks so good on that beach. Was just like anything in Mexico or Cuba and any of the popular Caribbean destinations. Vietnam really is a good beach destination in the South.
That's good to know. Yeah.
I just like that photo. I just thought that was good. That's near Hoi An again.
Mm-hmm. There's still bikes everywhere. Bikes, mopeds, everything.
Yeah, because not a lot of people can afford the car. So you had
But
more
could you
motorcycles
how
and bikes.
effectively could you drive a car on there? Look how narrow the streets are.
Well, that's the other problem. Exactly, my friend. So, and there again is coastal Vietnam, headed down south towards the Mekong Delta.
No sunset.
It was gorgeous, and you see all the fishing contraptions out in the water.
Yep.
There's a lot of fish and seafood in Vietnam, the good kind. And again, yeah, just now Nha Trang has a couple of big rivers that come pass through it and emptying into the ocean, and so you get a lot of where you have a river coming into the ocean. That's where you get a lot of good fish. Yeah, just typical fishing boats, and it's almost like Venice, where they stand up on the back and use a big pole. It's almost like Venice, which I've been on a canal in Venice, on the Grand Canal, and it was pretty. I was with a girl at the time. It was pretty romantic. Okay. Our TNZ, hello and welcome. It says, hey, old dad, man, Canadian Spidey. What part of Canada are you in? Family in Ontario and friends near Calgary. I just came. I was in Calgary earlier today. About 12 hours ago, I passed through Calgary. I'm on the other side of the Rockies. I drove over the Rockies, so I am in British Columbia. About halfway between Vancouver and the border with Alberta. A good 5 hours east of Vancouver, in the countryside.
You're so rural that you're able to have those bonfire streams, which are really cool.
Thank you. I'm gonna have one tomorrow. It's looking good, and I think they're gonna put in fire restrictions before long. So I'm gonna have a bonfire tomorrow, I think. So this is the hotel that we rented a room in, again for like $5 a night, and it had a top floor, top floor that you can go up and you can get food delivered up there, and you can just enjoy Nha Trang. So this is looking out over Nha Trang from the top of our hotel building, and it was one of the taller buildings in Nha Trang. We're about 4 blocks from the coast, right there.
Wow. Beautiful view, though. Beautiful view.
It really was.
Sun.
Yeah, the sunset's going down again. Gorgeous. And haven't seen a lot of BC, but it is pretty. It really is. I saw a lot of it just today, as a matter of fact. It was a hell of a drive. 900 kilometers is what I drove today. I don't know what that is in miles. Well, I guess
it's probably about 800 miles, 700 miles. It's a lot.
I was going to say 700 maybe, or just under 700. Yeah, I think so. It was a hell of a day, and I'm glad. I was able to make it just in time. And thank you for joining me, Dad, man.
Absolutely a blast, a pleasure.
And that's the name of the hotel. So if you're in Nha Trang, in the southern half of Vietnam, I recommend this hotel. It's got a great rooftop view, and it's close to the ocean. It's right there. And this is the booze cruise we went out on. See the boats in the background, and so we just all floated around. And this is our bartender, and we all had life rings, and we just floated around, and he was out there in the middle of the ocean throwing beers at us, and it was great.
Oh gosh, that's too funny.
It was funny. It was great.
Gotta have fun with it.
Yep, there we are. There's my buddies and I. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Now, be careful, because while we were in the water, all the tourists were in the water basically, and the boat crew was on the boat. There was 3 of them, and one of the girls, we were all in the water, no one was really watching. All of our stuff was back on the boat, and one of the girls had cash taken from her belongings while on the boat, and none of the crew saw anything. No one knew anything, but I suspect it's a thing they do, is when all the tourists are out in the water, then they look for people with maybe some cash.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you're warned, folks. Be careful about that.
Yep.
Yeah. And this is a traditional little Vietnamese boat. I saw lots of those little. They use those to get to maybe a bigger boat. It's sort of like like a shuttle that you'd use to get around the bay. But yeah, just a round design, very unique. I haven't seen that anywhere else in the world, where like there's no front and there's no end. It's just round. Have you ever seen a canoe like that, Dad Man?
No, not at all. That looks like a big cauldron, you know.
It does.
You don't think that thing's going to seaworthy very long.
I'll tell you a funny story. When we went on that overnight boat cruise on Halong Bay from Hanoi, the boat left, I think, at about 4:00 in the afternoon. So before getting onto the boat and going out on the cruise, I was swimming in the bay, and I'm a good swimmer. I'll just say that right now. I'm a very good swimmer, and so I was, I don't know, like a long way offshore. Like I'm gonna say, I don't know, like a third of a mile. Like I was way out to shore. I was out in boat traffic.
Right.
And this guy comes up, he was going around to the tourist boats, the tourists on the boats, selling them chips and snacks and things like that. And I'm swimming in my bathing suit. I don't have any bags or anything with me. I'm just swimming myself. And the guy comes in his rowboat. He chases after me, and he's trying to sell me potato chips. And I'm looking at him like, dude, we're in the water, like a long way from the shore. I don't have any money on me, and how would I eat the potato chips? I'm swimming, but crazy, man. I didn't know it. Like, I didn't speak Vietnamese, but I think he understood what I was saying. Like, are you crazy? Like, how am I going to eat potato chips? I'm swimming. I didn't have a boat. I didn't have a canoe. It was just me. It was fun. It was humorous. It was humorous. Oh, and do you mind reading this, please?
I would rather be in a boat like that instead of a canoe or kayak. LL.
It looks less tippy, definitely. It does look less tippy, but I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And here's Nha Trang and my buddy, and that's just to show you that the southern coast of Vietnam, and this is about 2/3 of the way down Nha Trang. It's tropical. It's just like Thailand. I mean, it's the same area as Thailand.
Yeah.
It makes sense that it would be like Thailand, and it's cheaper than Thailand. I'll tell you that. It's cheaper than Thailand, and the beaches are just as nice. And they do know how to cater to the tourists. It's a mosquito. We're having mosquitoes here already, Dad Man. I wasn't ready for that yet. I'm not ready for mosquitoes yet.
It's hot and warm down here. Also, the same thing to us. It's way too close.
And Mrs. Dad says, I do not like the beach, but that looks beautiful. Not a beach person, more of a mountain person is your wife?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's more of that. That's what was great with our trip to the Rockies last year to Yellowstone and all. Was we got to go. Had our own adventures, but as a subgroup of the big group. But when you get that many people together, it's hard to keep everybody happy and organized.
Of course it is. You're right, it is. That's why I generally travel by myself. In this particular case, I went with my English teaching buddy because he's pretty easygoing. He's a Kiwi.
Yeah.
Kiwis are so easygoing.
Okay. That's cool.
Except for that Carla Burton. She's a little firecracker, but other than that, most of them are relaxed. I'm kidding, Carla. I love you, Carla. I'm just kidding. So this is a Buddhist statue in Nha Trang. And Vietnam didn't seem overly religious to me because they still are communist. And communists, they don't really like the religion. You know, they try and get rid of it as much as possible. But there was a few religious statues around. But, I didn't see, like in Thailand, you'll see monks walk around with the shaved head and the bright orange robes. I didn't see that too much in Vietnam. I don't think it's a thing.
Well, how much is that Hollywood pumping up images, what they like or not, and who knows these days?
What do you think of this guy's job? That's on a three-wheeled bicycle.
No way. I can't. I have barely time to carry 3 or 4 things. Just do one.
That's what they do there, man. That's and it's all on that 3-wheeled bicycle. and he's just using it like a truck. I mean, I don't even think you could put that many. I couldn't get that many in a pickup truck.
Yeah, it had no life left in it. So,
how long do you think you could go down your local street in your town before the cops would pull you over doing that, blocking the road and stuff?
Well, where I am, they kind of leave you alone. So,
oh, well, that's good.
But yeah,
same is true.
It's really hard to say.
And what do you think's going on here? You're old enough. You might. I don't know how good you are in history, but you might remember this. What do you think they're doing?
I'm not sure. Unless they're delivering ice, but I don't really know. Oh, they're delivering ice. Hey.
Yes, and people that couldn't afford electric refrigerators, they literally have the old-fashioned. Now, I'm not saying you're that old. I know you're not that old, but if anyone knows what an ice box is, yeah, an old-fashioned refrigerator. Yes, Eugene Bird. Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Eugene Bird. Hello. And yes, your missus got it. Yep.
Yay.
That's exactly right.
She's smart.
Yes. I'll bet his name is, I don't know how to pronounce that name. It's a common name, and I bet you're right. It probably is. Yeah, I don't. Do you know how to pronounce that, Dadman?
With Negan?
Negan?
I don't think. I think the G silence is more quieter.
Oh, Negan. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, they're selling ice for old-fashioned ice boxes. So if you don't have electricity, you have a box, and you put the ice in there, and it keeps. Oh,
yeah.
Eugene Bird, pronounced when? You're kidding. Oh, it sounds like win, I believe. Oh, thank you, Miskatonic. And thanks, Eugene Bird. I didn't know. How the hell did they get win out of that spelling?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I have enough problems speaking English most days.
The same here, my friend. So yeah, selling ice, and the ice didn't even though it was. I mean, these guys are wearing long sleeves, but it would have been in the 80s. It would have been in the 80s during the day. And the ice, it's all together, and it all stays cool. And you see, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a giant. It almost looks like a bone saw on top, and that's what they were using to cut the ice. It's underneath the ropes there, but a giant bone. It looks like a bone saw, but let's do that. Maybe you can see it a little better there. But yeah, selling ice because they are still very much second world. You know, they're not a first world. Many parts of it are not first world. So, and yeah, Ho Chi Minh again. That celebrating something or other. 1975 to 2005. Okay, yeah. So that's when I was there, 2005. There you go.
Yep.
I knew that. And okay, so this is Nha Trang, and like I said, it has a big river that comes.
Let me ask you this question because just looking at it, it looks impoverished. The whole area looks impoverished.
Yes,
was it as it poor as you as the pictures made it look?
Yes. Yes, but the people are well fed, and they're happy. You know.
Well, and also, do you end up? I was curious. Do you prefer like where they to eat places where maybe there's a big international company that has a presence, say the KFC, McDonald's, just take whatever, or like go out of your way to eat the local food, the normal things.
Good question. I do like to, just as a kind of a gauge, I will go into McDonald's around the world in any of the countries I go to just to see the different menu items. Like in Japan, they had chicken McNuggets, but they also have fish McNuggets with wasabi dipping sauce. So I like to see the unique, the cool, and in Australia they have Burger King. They call it Hungry Jacks, and they have like an Aussie burger, which has an egg and a slice of beet. Like beet, they call it beetroot, but of course it's a slice of beet, an egg, and a slice of pineapple on a burger, and that's an Aussie burger. So I love going into food chains like that just to see the unique, but just once. Normally, I will eat the local food. I will go to the little dive with the old guys sitting where there's no white people there, and I will seek those places out, DadMan. And if I'm the only white guy in the shop, that's perfect. I'm in the right spot.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Eugene Bird says, agreed. Can't believe you've been to Vietnam. Well, I was already over there, so teaching English. So if you're already over there, it makes sense. And do you mind reading this, please?
Yeah, the most beautiful woman I ever dated was named Mien. I never knew how to pronounce it. She dumped me, but not before. She made a lot of guys jealous of me.
Nice.
At least she stays confident. Yeah.
Yep. The Vietnamese ladies are attractive. I will definitely say that. Shout out to T wherever you are. But yeah, so this it is impoverished. It is definitely a second world country. I would call Laos and Cambodia definitely third world. But Vietnam, compared to Laos and Cambodia, Vietnam was looking pretty advanced, let me tell you. But yeah. And there, Ho Chi Minh City.
Wow.
Here are the streets of Ho Chi Minh City. And again, they're doing all their businesses on the sidewalks. Often when you're walking down the streets, you'll have to walk on the street and not the sidewalk, because the sidewalk is for setting up shop and doing business. Oddly enough, complete contrast to North America. So most of the time you end up walking in the street. But yeah, I mean, they do have, I mean, you can see modern cars there. They've got some modern buildings there, modern TVs. Some people in Vietnam are very well off.
But they don't have hurricanes and bad weather like we do. But they have to prepare for that, though.
And all right, moving on. Okay, this is Ho Chi Minh City, and I told you most people don't have cars. Most people have motorcycles. And get a good look at this. That's what it's like. Those are all motorcycles.
Yep.
They are waiting at a traffic light. They are waiting at a traffic light to go. It's not a parade. It's not like a celebration. That's a normal day in Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
And here we go. Now we're just getting to the last of the photos here, and this is in the Mekong Delta. This is in the very south, where the Mekong River comes out, and finishes and goes into the South China Sea in Vietnam, and a lot of mangroves around there, a lot of mangrove swamps and really tropical vegetation. Oh, and we disappeared, so I'll put us back in there. There we go.
It's just so amazing, the character, with all this. It'd be easy to go to the big cities, to all the big touristy things to develop stuff, but this is where you really see the culture and the beauty of a country.
You are so right.
I mean, it's interesting to learn why they're on stilts. I thought it was for flooding and stuff like that, never thinking about creatures crawling in and through. But valid concerns.
And cooling. And cooling.
Yeah.
Are you familiar? Have you ever heard of a part of Australia? It's a state in Australia on the east coast where the Great Barrier Reef is, where Brisbane is. It's a state of Queensland.
Yes. Hungry Boy and I talk about that all the time. Okay. And I know on Lorena's show, it's always like Florida and Queensland are a lot alike.
They are. And so a style of house called the Queenslander has balcony, a veranda, all on all four sides of the house, and they're often raised up. And some of them, often you park your car underneath the house. It stays cool and in the shade. And that's a wonderful way to keep your house cool, is raise it up on stilts, and then you can park underneath. And the creepy crawlers, of course.
Yeah,
and
never even think about those reasons. You really don't.
No, but it's hot over there, and they can't afford air conditioning, so put the house on stilts. Makes sense. Hello, Taylor Swift is greater than Disney, Star Wars, MCU, and Doctor Who. Hello and welcome, Matt G. Thanks for being here. And do you mind reading this, please?
You know who the world Canadian Spider-Man, who's the most beautiful country? I think whenever it's supposed to be what, but beautiful. Yeah.
The most beautiful country? Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
My parents probably want me to say Canada. And coming through the Rockies today, it's gorgeous. But I'd have to say Australia. I think maybe Australia for all the different landscapes. You know, they've got mountains too. They've got snowy mountains. They're called the Snowy Mountains. They've got the Blue Mountains, but they have tropical. I think Australia, to answer your question, I think Australia is maybe the most beautiful country I've seen. But Portugal is one of my favorites for the food and the culture. But yeah, this is typical countryside in the Mekong Delta. I arrived on a ferry, and I went deep into the Mekong Delta, into the little towns. And where I was the only white guy, guaranteed. I for 2 whole days I didn't see another white person. But no problem. Some of the people spoke English, and as long as you have a smile, that's fine. I found a place to stay. I found a hostel, and as soon as you get off the ferry, there's like motorcycle taxi guys,
right?
And they want to be of service. They want to help you to get payment. You know, so that's I'll take you to a hostel. I'll take you to a place. So you don't have to stress about finding a place. Once you get off the ferry or you get off the bus, there's going to be motorcycle taxi guys there, and whatever you want, they will help you find it for money. That's what they do.
Oh yeah, especially if you have them U.S. dollars, you know.
Exactly, yeah. But again, you're supposed to use dong in Vietnam because they're still communists, so they're not officially supposed to use U.S. dollars. And this is a corner store. This is like a Mekong Delta 7-Eleven, if you will, with all your cold beverages in the cooler.
Are these outside shops though too, primarily? I mean, or do they inside outside, or how do they do it?
No, this is outside, and I think he's living in the house behind.
Okay.
Yeah, that's that is. Now I see Angkor there. That's close to Angkor is Cambodia. It's a Cambodian beer, and it's part of their culture too. The Angkor Wat is one of the biggest temples in Cambodia. So this is close. They sell Cambodian things when you get close to the borders in Vietnam as well. And this, I have no idea what they're doing out there, fishing or who knows, but I thought that was a really interesting. It's a farm of some sort, and I don't know what they're doing in there. Whether it's fish or
don't ask.
You have any idea? Does it look like blueberries to you?
No, it's hard for me to see on my small monitor, but it'd have to be something utterly disgusting.
And here we go. Here's typical Vietnamese fishermen, and I don't know if you've ever thrown a net, but the amount of skill it takes to get it to open up into a circle like that. I've tried in Mexico. I tried throwing a hand net, and I was useless. I couldn't. It must take years of practice. That man must have been doing that since he was a little boy to get. I don't know if you can see on your screen, but he's throwing out a net, and it's in a circle. It's a perfect throw. Really well done.
Yep.
And there we go. There's the start.
Yay. Nice pictures. Thanks for sharing them. Thanks for having me on with this. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Places like that. That's
You're
really
welcome.
neat.
And I have, do you have time to, I've got a short video.
Sure.
Yeah,
Well, I can save it for a video.
Yeah, it's like I think it's 10 seconds long I took.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like literally. So this is a small town in the Mekong Delta. And let's see. Yeah, I've got the video right here. Present, share screen. Bingo. And share audio. Yes, we definitely want the audio. So I don't think that we'll be able to hear the audio, but our viewers, our audience should be able to hear the audio. Okay, we'll share that. And we'll make that big. I think that worked. Yeah, that looks like that worked. Okay. So I'm just going to press play.
That's just nice. Yeah.
It's 11 seconds long, and this is a small town in the Mekong Delta, Vietnam.
Small town on the Mekong Delta in Vietnam. Just about sunset, and I think I'm the only white guy in town.
Yep.
There you go.
Unless you knew a 7-footer that could come play basketball with you.
Oh, you can see it. Okay, that's excellent. I'm glad. I'm glad you can see it, Eugene Bird. Thank you very much. And hey, thanks, Mrs. Dadman. Now I've got one. Now that was just a short 10-second video. I do have to end on. I do have another 10, just a 10-second or 12-second short video of all the motorcycle traffic in Ho Chi Minh City that I took. I was just standing at an intersection I was taking, and I think I have one of that. So let's find that, and that'll do it. And thank you so much for joining me tonight, DadMan.
I love being here. It's been great. Wonderful pictures. Wonderful. Especially, all your stuff with the local stops. Really, really cool.
I try, and a lot of it's from, now, a lot of it is just from memory too.
Mrs. is asking, are there traffic rules there, or is it like a free-for-all in terms of just driving?
It is a free-for-all, much like India and China. I think now they do have rules. The government does have rules. Like, for example, in some places, and is it Vietnam? I think it is Vietnam. Every time you pass a pedestrian, you got to honk your horn. So endless. Do you know how many pedestrians there? It's a stupid rule. There's endless horns, and it seems to be the person with the biggest horn gets the right of way.
Hey, there you go. That's a good motto. Have corn will travel. We'll definitely do it to corn.
Not well. I've only ridden one motorcycle in my life. It was an electric motorcycle in China, and it would only go about 50 kilometers an hour, which is about 30 miles an hour. But yes, I can't ride no, not really. No. And in Vietnam, very dangerous. You're taking your life in your own hands. I've been warned. Many people warned us of that. Do not try and do not try and do motorcycles unless you're very good, which I am not. Okay, so here we go. Now this is in Ho Chi Minh City, and
I still have more faith in you than you do yourself. So.
Oh, well, thanks. No, I just don't have the experience. I'm sure I can do it. I've got a good sense of balance. I mean, obviously I wouldn't call myself Spider-Man if I didn't, but I don't have a lot of experience. So here is Ho Chi Minh City, and okay, we're sharing that. That looks good. We're going to blow it up. And the same thing. We won't be able to hear it, but they should be able to, DadMan. And it's 14 seconds long. Are you ready?
Let's go.
All right, here we go.
It's a downtown street in Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon. Hell of a lot of motorcycles here.
It's a lot of bikes.
Yep.
Wonderful. All right.
That was really nice. Thank you, Spider-Man. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Invite me on. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Is there anything that you would like to promote? But please go to our friend DadManWalking's channel. He's got a great channel. And
I actually promote more the Mrs. nowadays because I'm not going to be monetized for a while anyway. She's trying to monetize and everything to do all that. So follow her in the Mrs.DadManWalking55 on Twitter also. But her Twitter name is a lot different now. So, but every morning she does her daily dose of positivity at 10 a.m. Goes about 2 hours. And then the judge, then you just, that's her main flagship thing. She also does a build every Tuesday and Wednesday. Today, it varies between what she builds to what she does the next time. So, but that's most of what's going on. I really don't have anything scheduled. Next Wednesday night, I'm supposed to have Daisy Blossom on with me, and we're going to talk the original Ghostbusters movie. But outside yeah, exactly.
That's my favorite all-time.
I know.
I think that's my number one all-time favorite movie.
Well, we're going to have some fun with it on Wednesday night and see where it goes because it's It's good, but my thing is my streams are more random these days. The best way to see when I go live is on Twitter, and make sure you get the notifications because But outside that, I think thank you, Canadian Spider-Man. It's been a blast.
Thank you.
Have to do it again.
I really I would love that. Thank you. And Mrs. Dadman, please feel free to put your link in the chat or Dadman's Walking. Please go ahead and put whatever link you want in there. I'm a big fan of promoting other YouTubers. We all grow together, like I really believe a rising tide floats all boats. And for motorcycles, I would like to drive a Honda or Suzuki bike. I like those. I like the Asian bikes. They definitely, they know how to. Okay, and here's a good. Do you mind reading this, please?
Absolutely. Is the traffic like that all the time, or just at specific times of day?
It's worse. It's worse in the mornings for the rush hour traffic, but even not during rush hour, it's kind of like that. Yeah, it's nuts all the time. Oh, there we go. Mrs. Dadman Walking says morning music Saturday 10 a.m. Eastern, Sunday 1 p.m. Eastern. Block party brick builds Tuesday and Thursday 1 p.m. Eastern. Awesome. Thank you so much. And there is our channel. Please subscribe and go check out our friends. They're friends of the channel. And I just want everyone to grow together. Thanks for the great stream. Dadman Walking, says Miss Catonic Batman. So thanks for being here, folks.
Great to everybody for being here, though. That's the thing.
Thanks so much for being here, everyone. And next Thursday, we're going to do another travel talks. And I don't know where we're going to go. Who knows? We'll find out next Thursday. Thanks, Dadman. We're gonna end the stream now.
Absolutely. Hey, but thank you again, Canadian Spider-Man. Appreciate it as always, and always good to hang out with you too.
It really is. Thanks for coming.
And you guys in the chat make it rock too.
Yep. Good night, everybody.
Good night.